evaluation sheet, note the drill. Everybody is aware of the extra credit if you do the student evaluation things right, and then just send me a screenshot or whatnot. If there's a +3 to the left of your name, that means I've already received yours. I've got it marked down to add it later. I have not checked my email recently, so chances are if you've done it, you're not checked. It'll get checked later as I go through all the emails. Okay, so we are working on 5.2 and 5.4. There will be a quiz available on Thursday. We should do Sunday night for us to go over next Tuesday. And then that Thursday, a test is released and it's due that Sunday night, blah, 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 blah. Okay? So we're pouring through 5.2 and 5.4. Are there any questions concerning any of the homework problems from 5.2 or 5.4? Okay. Remember, you need to be doing these on your own and not just following along as I solve these things, because that doesn't mean that you can do them by yourself, okay? So the quiz will be a good thing to let you know where you are. So I'm going to continue doing problems from 5.4. I'm not exactly sure where we left off. Does anyone have in their notes?
19.
19, did we do that one?
No.
Okay, so I should start with 19 then, okay? All right. Not D, then E is what we have to prove. We have A if and only if C or not D or E. And we also have not A, then C and C, then A. Okay. All right. So we have to get to not D, then E, and we don't see that anywhere in the premises. And its opposite isn't either. It's not in the antecedent. But notice this thing right here. It's a clump of D's and E's and all that stuff. So we're going to go after this clump because I'm convinced that we can convert this back to that. Okay? So what that means is we need the negation of this disjunct. We need not A if and only if C. We don't have that. So the only rule that lets us create a biconditional is material equivalence. So you look at that rule and then you realize that this can be turned into A if and only if C. Okay, so I'm doing material equivalence just on this. So that means we keep the negation sign. So it's not A if and only if C comes from 2 by material equivalence. Okay, now we have the opposite of this first disjunct. So we can do a disjunct syllogism and get not D or E from 1 and 3 by disjunct syllogism. Okay, so now I gotta see if I can really do what I said I could do. Well, the only difference is in here, okay? So I'm going to apply material implication to the inside of these parentheses. So let's keep everything else the same. What happens? The not D becomes a D, the or becomes a then, and the E stays the same, okay? So that's from 4 by implication or material implication, and we're done, okay? So you see, it's like, oh, I got a hunch. Your hunches are gonna work out because there are solutions to these problems. Okay? Alright, so that takes me to 21. Is not D then K. I just need to use one at a time. Use until it goes completely out. Otherwise, I get a bunch of bad things. A then B, and B then not C. 2 is not A, then not C, or D. Okay. So I have to get to not D, then K. And now one of the things that's interesting about that is there's no stinking K anywhere, right? So, first thing I'm gonna realize is, wait a minute, let me convert this to an OR. And if I do, the not D becomes a D, and the then becomes an OR, and then the K. Well, what's interesting about that is all I need to get that is a D, because I can add the OR K, and then I can go back to that. So what we've discovered is the real point of the problem is to get D, okay? All right, and we can get a D from right here if we can get the opposite of this, which would be A, then not C, okay? And I can get that by doing a hypothetical syllogism with those two parts. But the first things first, I need to put them on separate lines. That's the way our rule works. So A then B comes from 1 by simplification. Now I need this. I can't simplify straight to it. I have to move it over by com. So I get B, then not C, and A, then B from 1 by com. Now I can simplify to this. So you can only simplify to the left conjunct, okay? B, then not C from 4 simplification, okay? Now look at 3 and 5. A, then not C, 3, 5, hypothetical syllogism. And this was all to get the D from 2. Okay, so now I get D from 2 and 6 by disjunctive syllogism. And now I'm going to follow this strategy backwards. I'm going to add K to the D, 7 by addition. And then I'm going to convert this OR to a then. So the D becomes a not D, OR becomes a then, and the K stays the same. That's from 8, and that's by implication, and I'm done. Okay. So one thing that you should notice is, now that we have these rules of replacement, it's very helpful to kind of write down equivalences, right, in the margins. Because you might notice, oh wait, that thing, that equivalence is helpful for me, or you might not see it if you don't write down the equivalence, okay? 19, 21, 23. Prove not D and not G. 1 is not C, 2 is A or B, then D, then not F. Okay. 3 is C or A or B. 4 is F or G. Okay. All right, I don't see not D and not G anywhere in the premises. I don't see its opposite, and I can't see the conditional. So, this is a negated conjunction, so I'm gonna do a De Morgan's on it, in which case I get not D or G. So if I got that, I could go back to that by De Morgan's, okay? So now I'll look around for a not D or G, and there's a couple of ways to go for it. You should also know that if we did implication on this, that not D becomes a D, the or becomes a then, and the G stays the same. So if I can get to that, I can get to that, and I can get to that, okay? So I think I can get to a D or a G because I can get a D then blank and a blank then G and put them together by hypothetical syllogism, okay? So let's go get a D then blank, okay? There's a D then blank. It requires A or B, which is right here, but it's stuck in an or, which means I need to get a not C. And fortunately, I have a not C in line 1, so the first thing I can do is A or B from 1 and 3 by disjunctive syllogism. And with this, I can do a modus ponens with 2, and I get D then not F. Okay, 2, 5, modus ponens. Now I said I need a D then blank and a blank then G. I don't have a blank then G, but I have an F or G, and I can convert ors to thens. And let's see what happens when I do that. So an F becomes not F, then G. That comes from 4, and that's by implication, okay? And now look, these two can be fit together by hypothetical syllogism. So I get D then G